Good morning, students, staff, and guests, veterans. Welcome to the 2021 Veterans Assembly. If you would please join me in a moment of silence to honor those that are unable to be with us today. Thank you. If you now please rise for the singing of the National Anthem by our FHS choir directed by Mr. Zach Ryder. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets breaking, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Remain standing, please. The flag is off to your left. We will now do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
to be honest, I really felt like I should sing standing here, but that would not have been good for anyone. Thank you, Mr. Ryder, and FHS Choir. I mean, what a wonderful thing. I know they're dispersing. We're kind of waiting for everybody to maneuver here a little bit. If you'd give them another hand, I'm sure it sounded incredible here.
And I'm not using a mic, but this next song is called Who Are the Brave, and it is very much a veteran song. If you are active duty, if you are veteran, there is a moment in the song where I will go, and you should stand. The band will also be doing a song where you can stand. There's lots of standing today. But we want to be able to see you when we get there. And I have a vocal part. This is right before the last one. Got it. They're learning in front.
Thank you again, Mr. Ryder. Pulled a fast one. I mean, that's not been performed before, but it was wonderful. It is my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, retired U.S. Army Sergeant James Sullis.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Mr. Stone. Thank you, FH staff, and what a great band, great choir. Let's give them another hand. Before I introduce today's speaker, I'd like to share a couple things with you. First, today I think will be the last day up at the Arts and Convention Center as a display by a former FHS graduate, Mike Carlson, one of my classmates. And he has made several dioramas, scale models of military history. He was an art major at Parsons College. I didn't know that, but I read in the paper, because he's a Harley rider, so that's a little different than one thing. But it's worth your time to go to see. It's free. Even has some instances of local people that were involved in some battles that is represented there. So it's worth your time to go see. Would also like to thank everyone who was involved in putting up the flags in Central Park yesterday. Are there some students in here that did that helped? If you are, would you please stand? Anybody? You know, Scott Bond gets someone to do some of that, but I think if you did, thank you for that. We'll be taking down the flags Saturday afternoon, so if you're available, I know the VFW would appreciate that. The flags in Central Park represent veterans in this county, and if you've never seen it in the paper, I'd like to show this. Several years ago, the local paper publishes, and every year they will publish a listing of a representative of veterans that have been in the wars, 2 pages full, over 1,200 names. They're back to the American Revolution. But it's not a complete listing, and all the flags in the park were originally donated by family members to recognize the sacrifice that their loved ones have made in the war. So right now I think there's around 500 flags in the park, but there's no way they've put 1,200 or even 1,500 in the park. So I think it's really representative of how strong this community is to recognize our veterans that have served. So moving on, one last thing I would like to say. In your Commons room here, you have your Wall of Honor. And one of the 2 people that I personally knew, one of them was 4-star General Air Force Richard Lawson, and the other one was 2-star General Warren Lawson, brothers. Warren Lawson was the Adjutant General of the Iowa Guard. So I served under him for many years. He happens to be a cousin of my wife. And Richard Lawson served on President Nixon's and President Ford's staff and traveled worldwide with both of them. And a little side note, just recently, Colin Powell, who passed away, actually served under Richard Lawson and was one of his officers when he was in command. So today I would like to introduce our speaker, born in Nebraska, Grand Island, so he must be a Husker, correct? Yeah, I know, my daughter-in-law is a Husker, my son now is a Husker. Graduated there and moved here to Iowa. 2005 graduate of Bloomfield, probably a Mustang, is that right? Mustang, you all played that game. He enlisted into the Marine Corps back in 2005. Went to combat training in San Diego, transferred all over. He served in Japan, Okinawa. He's been the voice of the radio to announce family dinners, celebrations on base. He was also promoted to corporal, later on to sergeant, served in Iraq under Iraqi freedom. Went on to become a drill sergeant, so you know how tough he must be if he's a drill sergeant, because I remember my drill sergeants, they didn't put up with anything, so he was doing everything right all the time. And you can tell he looks sharp. Look at that uniform, look at those medals. He's got the Army Achievement Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Marine medals, probably a sharpshooter expert, probably on shooting. So, and just recently, after he got out of the Marines, he went in and enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard. He was a diesel mechanic. He was with the maintenance company in Oskaloosa. And then in 2019, he decided to become a member of the National Guard. And now he is a recruiter in this area, based here in Fairfield. Called him up last night. He was over in Ottumwa doing a school feature there with the students there. And I know he's been in all the schools here. This morning he was at Washington School having pictures with kids and giving a program. He said he made it through that. So he wondered if he was going to get here in time. He's currently married, lives in Packwood, been married for 12 years, has 2 daughters, Isabel and Jocelyn. So please welcome our speaker today, Staff Sergeant Kyle Green. Thank you.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the Allies in Germany put an end to World War I. That conflict, referred to at the time as the War to End All Wars, prompted leaders to designate November 11th as the day to honor veterans of World War I. Years later, it became the day to honor all veterans. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's ceremony and thank you for attending. I'm honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here to honor our service members and to remember their sacrifices and the courage it takes to defend honor, duty, and country. We're here today to honor our heroes, to remember their achievements, their courage, and their dedication. Thinking of the heroes who join us today and those who are only here in spirit, a person can't help but feel thankful and blessed. We stand in the midst of patriots and the family and friends of those who have nobly served. I'd like to ask the service members and veterans who are here to please stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty. You have made our armed forces the most respected in the world. Now I'd like to ask the family members of any service member to stand. Thank you for the sacrifices you have made and for the service you supplied your service member. The service members we honor today come from all walks of life, but they all share several fundamental qualities. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity. All the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Many of them didn't ask to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields. Many of them didn't even volunteer. They didn't go to war because they loved to fight. They were called to be a part of something much bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the nation's call because they wanted to protect the nation which has given them and all of us so much. Your presence here today and that of the people gathering all across America is a tribute to those lost troops and their families. It's a way to say we remember. From the soldiers who shivered and starved through the winter of Valley Forge, doughboys in the bloody trenches of France, to the platoons who patrolled the hazy jungles of Vietnam, and to those who fought in the blistering heat of Iraq, and the young men and women who patrolled the mountains of Afghanistan, we remember and honor them all. Like many service members, I joined to be a part of something bigger than myself, to serve my country and to do my part, no matter how big or how small it may be. I wanted to help others, and then I wanted to do something that was highly respected in our country. and I wanted to serve for the ones who couldn't serve. I enjoyed my time in the Marine Corps. However, I wanted to bring my family back home here to raise my family with a foundation in a small country town. I tried working as a mechanic, as a salesman for several years, but I always felt like there was something missing. So I finally reached out to an Iowa Army National Guard recruiter, and I re-enlisted within a month. And I thought, wow, I could serve my country right here at home, be here with my family, and I don't have to uproot and change anything anymore. I'm just here. So I decided I wanted to do more with my knowledge and my experience. I wanted to help shape the lives of individuals who have that fire and that passion to do something more with their lives. Now, some of you may ask me, isn't that why you were a drill instructor? Well, yeah, I enjoyed my time as a drill instructor. I enjoyed changing the lives of recruits and turning them into disciplined young individuals, but that wasn't enough for me. I felt like there was something more I could do to help people. So I thought, well, what else could there be? A recruiter. I can help create that bridge from a civilian to the military life. I believe that there's nothing more better that I could do than to serve my country and help change lives at the same time. Being able to reach out to individuals who are uncertain in their future, and even those who wish they would have joined sooner. It truly is a blessing to be able to help someone start a future and at the same time help our great nation. The strength of our nation depends on willing individuals from every corner of our state, every social, economic, and demographic group, and every ethnic background to step forward and serve alongside their fellow citizens. Before closing, I'd like to challenge you all to volunteer and be active in your local community. There's a lot of negativity going on in the world today, and we could all benefit from volunteering and serving the community that has given us so much. Thank you all for attending. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops. And God bless America.
Thank you, Sergeant Kyle Green. We will now have playing patriotic music performed by the FHS band under the direction of Ms. Hannibal. Thank you again, Ms. Ball, and FHS band. If you can give them another hand. We will now have the Missing Man Table ceremony performed by FHS students.
The table that stands before you is a place of honor. In setting this table, we acknowledge those missing from our celebration today, and we remember them. The tradition of setting a separate table in honor of our prisoners of war and missing military personnel has been in place since the end of the Vietnam War. Each item has special significance. The table is small and set for one, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his or her oppressors. It is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. The white tablecloth draped over the table represents the purity of their response to our country's call to arms. The empty chair portrays an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, but all who are not here with us. The Bible represents the spiritual strength and faith to sustain those lost from our country. The black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends. The single red rose reminds us of the blood shed and sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our country and of their families and loved ones. The red ribbon represents the love of our country, which inspired them to answer the nation's call. The slices of lemon on the plate remind us of their bitter fate. The salt represents the tears of their families. The glass, turned upside down on the table, reminds us that they cannot be with us to drink a toast or join in the celebration today. The yellow candle and its yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for. Please join me in a moment of silence to reflect on those who are not with us today and to remember the sacrifices of all men and women who have served in our military. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Today is a special day, clearly. FHS is always very proud to be a part of it, and it's clearly my favorite assembly, without a doubt. That's not even in question. I would encourage the students after we dismiss here briefly, if you have time. I know you'll find time, but I want a second period. If you have time, stop and just visit with some of the veterans and just thank them. There are many people that made this happen today, and I would like to thank some of them. First and most importantly, students and staff. I'm not surprised by the way we have taken in this assembly, and I would expect nothing but different. I'd also like to thank Ms. Ball, Ms. Mann, and the FHS band, Mr. Ryder and the choir, Mr. Grunwald, retired U.S. Army Sergeant James Saltz, and Staff Sergeant First Class Kyle Green, as it has been a wonderful performance. So if you would please give them a hand. Last and certainly most importantly, please give all of our veterans here today and those that are unable to be here with us a round of applause.